If ever there was a day or 2 days that said to me, you need an A list and a B list, it was the work I did with Kenny McCaskill when he was the Justice Secretary, when he released Mr. Al McGrahy, the only man convicted of the Lockerbie bombing of 1988. Now, whether Mr. Al McGrahy was the Lockerbie bomber is another matter, and I particularly have my doubts. But Mr. McCaskill's job as Justice Secretary was to explain why he was releasing him early from prison. When I met with the Justice Secretary, I suggested that if he's going to speak to the media, he really must answer questions. He had been reluctant to do that. He was just going to make a statement. But I said, if you fail to answer questions, people like me will simply shout, "You're wrong." So we worked on two things. The A list was the speech he was writing, and we crafted it together in terms of what he wanted to say about why he was releasing Mr. Al McGrahy. But the B list was, what awkward questions could you be asked? I turned up at his office a couple of days before he made the announcement with the 25 worst questions. Rather than just my questions, questions that came from Hans Kochler, for example, who was a UN attaché who had real questions about why the Swedish embassy appeared to know something was wrong with that flight. Now, when these questions have been asked by other people, they will probably be asked by the media. So the job then was to go through the worst questions that Mr. McCaskill could be asked. And after 3 hours of interrogation by the media, I believe that most of the questions that we had rehearsed together had been asked. Some of my list remained unasked. But the biggest thing that anybody can take from that is be prepared for your worst critic to be sitting right in front of you, asking the worst questions. When you've prepared that way with your B list, then you're ready for anything. And on that occasion, Mr. McCaskill certainly was. He kept his job for a further 3 years, which may have been different had he failed to prepare a B list.